Good evening, everybody. So this is a late night in the woodworking shop, and this is not something that I normally do. I normally don't like to work after my kids have gone to bed and all this. I usually save that time for computer work. But in this case, I got a project that I want to do tomorrow in the house, and in order to do that one, I have to have a glue up done tonight. So we make exceptions when we have to. So I've been working on my kitchen renovation essentially all year, but for the last couple of days, I've been tackling some cabinets around my fridge and where I have my oven and microwave combo. And we bumped out, if you check out my Instagram, you can see all the stories and stuff from that. But we bumped out the cabinets around my appliances 5.5 inches. I built a frame out of 2x6s, and we bumped everything out off the wall by 5.5 inches. Well, one other thing that I want to do to match the cabinets on the other half of my kitchen is to take the cabinets all the way to the ceiling. Now, unlike those, where those cabinets left me with a solid like 17 inches or something like that, I was able to build some boxes and with doors and everything, and I built those, put them up there. They look great with glass door fronts and everything. But on here, these cabinets are a little bit different. The oven's there, the fridge is there. So for some reason, these go like almost to the ceiling, but not all the way. And when my wife and I were looking at it, we decided like, these are not, it's not enough room to make a box. Like it'll be the smallest doors ever. You couldn't put anything in there. It's weird. So we decided to make false door fronts on up at the top. So it's gonna look, when you look at the whole thing, it's gonna look like the cabinets go all the way to the ceiling, but they're not actually gonna go all the way to the ceiling. There's gonna have some false fronts on there. So earlier today, I cut up the pieces for what I'm gonna do, and in order to be able to install this tomorrow, I need to get them glued up tonight. And I tried to do it earlier, but I had to take my kids to gymnastics and blah, 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 all that. But here's what we're doing. Whoa, whoops. Essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna make just some fake doors that are gonna get glued up, and then I'm going to attach them to up above those cabinets. Whoops, let that one slip. They're gonna look a little bit like this. Man, I can't lift it up, but I'm having a hard time doing that, but it's gonna look a little bit like this. So hang out with me here as we glue this up, and I'm gonna talk about my process as I go along. If you have any questions about woodworking or kitchen renovations or anything like that, throw them to me in the chat. So let me see if I can adjust this a little bit to kind of get down a little bit more on that. So, all right, cool. You can see me, and now you can see what I'm doing. So what's up? We got one wonton in here. We've got a mortise gauge with the 2 pins protrude at vastly different depths. There's about 2 to 3 millimeters of difference. Do I need to buy a new one? Interesting question. So I'm not exactly sure exactly what you mean. So is there any way to adjust? There's no way to adjust those depths? When you say that it's like, interesting, they protrude at different depths. Is there no way to adjust them on the ones that you have? Man, if there's no way to adjust them, yeah. Is that something that's always been like that, or is that something new and recent that's happened? But while you type that in there, so basically how this is gonna work is I'm going to use, I made my cuts and drilled a little, or cut out a little, can you see that in the camera there? This is a little rail and stiles, but I'm not doing the full situation tonight. But I'm gonna take these, and I got this plywood right here, and I'm going to glue this into these rails right here, tight fit. But so they're gonna be like this all the way around, and then I'm gonna attach this in a little bit. All right, let's see what that question was. 2 pins one side, 1 pin on the reverse. Yeah, you bought it like that, huh? Interesting. Unless there's a manufacturer's reason for that, which I don't know what it would be, then it sounds like you either got a faulty one, or you'd have to buy a new one, because I don't know how you could fix it. If it came like that, if there's no way to adjust it, then you either have to compensate every single time, or you just gotta bite the bullet and buy another one. I actually just got the new Craig mortise mate. It's their new loose tenon jig. So they've always had, Craig's always been pocket holes and everything, but they're getting into this loose tenon joinery, and it's the mortise mate. I actually shared a video about it the other day. You can check it out, my initial review of it. But it's like a little tabletop mortise, and it works really well. I'm not sure how much you paid. Craig is listing this one at like $2.99, I think it was, and it works really well. Easy to adjust. It can adjust the like depth and thickness and everything. Works really well. So if you're looking for a new one, that might be a good one so Jeff saying no glue. Well, I'm doing these a little differently. Maybe you missed the beginning, but these are not like, this is not an actual drawer front. This is a false front. So I think the glue is okay because these are going to be false and up at the top. They're not actually going to be like doors that I'm using. So I'm gluing these in because I want them to be all together. And I'm actually not putting I'm not going to be like attaching these to with hinges or anything. These are just going to be up above the cabinets as false doors. So you can see here, I got this first one in here, and now I'm going to line up the rest of them. So I am doing that, and you can see too, if you're like, you might be able to tell this one is extra thick and this one's smaller. So I cut these to be 1.5 inches, and this one to be 2.5 inches, because this one is going to be on the top and the crown is going to drop down on here, and I want to have a place to nail the crown into, but then still leave 1.5 inches showing so it matches, so it looks like those doors all the way around. And then it's just going to have that. Man, did I not trim this one out enough? It's going to be still 1.5 inches showing all the way around. What do you use for those channels? A router. So so here's the thing. So I've been working on this a lot lately. I made a bunch of doors for my cabinets earlier in the year, and I used some what do they call it? What is the brand name? Freud. Some Freud rail and style bits, and I still have some of the pieces that I cut out, and that made these like really good grooves here. That is just, yes, with a router on my router table. I showed you that setup in another video I did actually, but those have bits, like 2 different bits that you interchange to make the rail and style, and then did that. Well, my buddy took those back. I was actually borrowing those from him, and I just kind of threw this project together at the last second. So today, for these, I just used my table saw, set them to the same depth, and I set the blade to the same depth, and you can see they basically do the same thing. So I cut like a little groove in this board with a table saw. So you can do, depending on what you have and what you're looking for, you can make anything work. So let's get this in. I might need my mallet because this one is a little bit tighter because this is the one I did with the table saw. So grab my mallet here. I'll try to tap those in place here. Let's see. Hopefully I don't wake up my children by hammering this in. So I gotta get this going on this first one. Man, this is tight. Let's get this one in first right here. All right, so we're gonna put these on first. And these cut better. Those are sliding in like that. So you can see I have the base one on, these upper ones on, and then there's that space is a little bit extra because I'm, again, doing this with this thicker so that it can fit with the crown molding that I'm doing. So let's see if I can get this in. Having a little bit of a tight trouble. Normally, I would just rip this in the table saw a little bit more, but I'm already worried that the hammering is going to wake up my children, so I certainly can't run the table saw. Alright, so we're gonna get that. That looks pretty good. Alright, so now you can see we have this door, number one. I'm gonna set that to the side. Actually gonna grab my speed square real quick and check to make sure that that is square and everything is in line. So one thing that's super annoying with this project is when I built some of my kitchen cabinet doors, I didn't notice it until the end, but somehow when I clamped them together, they got like out of square, and then they sucked. So I'm gonna have to redo those here at the end. After I finish with this, I'm gonna have to go back and fix those doors. So speed square, in case you not familiar, speed square right here has a lot of different purposes. A speed square will do all sorts of things for you, but in this case, I'm using it just to make sure that each side in the corner of my build is square. So you put the ridged edge along one side, and then this side right here should be flush at that 90-degree angle. And when you're putting it there, you can also put it on the inside of your build and check to make sure it looks good there. So that's done. Set that off to the side. Actually, that's a little bit out of the way. And now I'm gonna do the next one. So these are gonna come together tomorrow. And this one little like spreader strip that's gonna go in between them to make up that full length above my cabinets. And once these are in, I'm gonna sand also the old cabinets down, and then we're gonna paint everything one color. So I'm not worried about it not being, about these being like a weird different color or anything like that. So we go back on this one again, add a little bead of glue inside the channel here, all the way around. And if you have a favorite type of wood glue, let me know what it is in the comments. I'm using Gorilla wood glue here, but also a fan of Tight Bond. I used to go to a conference where Gorilla Glue was at all the time, and they used to give me like a ton of glue at this conference, and then they stopped coming, and then I stopped going, and then now I have to buy my own wood glue. Sucks, right? So anybody else in here? Shout out to tell me anything you guys are working on. If anybody's working on a project right now, tell me what it is, what you're working on, and if you're having any difficulties with it or anything, let me know what they are. Pushing this into the groove. Again, this is a little bit tighter because these are the ones I made with the table saw, not with my bits. Which are made specifically for this, so this is a little bit tougher. Now I'm gonna bang it this way a little bit. So let me do this way. Man, that is tight. Trying to get that. That's what she said, right? All right. There you go. A little bit further. And when I cut these plywood pieces here, I cut them a little bit short of the like the max depth inside the channels, so that if they needed to have a little bit of wiggle room, they would. And this is exactly why. So now I'm going to flip this over, flip this one in, slide this one in right here, wrong side, put that in there. Take this one, same deal over here, this little excess right here, I'm going to slip that in, make that flush, and then I'm going to take this last one, and these are ever so slightly, I cut these ever so slightly off so they're not like 100% the same on each side, you can see, so I just got to make sure I line up the thicker side with the thicker sides. So I'm dropping that in. Why are you not going in? What are you doing here, friend? That one is, there we go, slipped in there, there we go. Man, that's the thing about woodworking, man. Sometimes it's like, it takes a minute, and then all of a sudden you get like everything exactly where you want it to go, and everything just pops into place. Whereas before it didn't pop into place. So never give up. If you know that you did something right, especially, if you know that you did something right in your woodworking project, don't give up if it's not working exactly right the first time. So there we go. All right, now we have another one. Back up here. All right, so the taller side is gonna go on the top because it's gonna be partially covered by that crown molding. And then it'll be 1.5 inches all the way around. So anybody else here? Anybody else have any questions? So what I'm gonna do tomorrow is I'm gonna take these after they've glued up, and I'm going to I'm gonna have to get a brace for behind them on top of my woodworking cabinets, my kitchen cabinets, and get some brace down there behind it, and then I'm going to take these and I will attach these in above the cabinets, and then they will just look like false uppers, uppers I call them, and they'll look false up there. And then I will run crown molding across it. I'm gonna paint the cabinets all one color, and then we'll be good to go. This kitchen is coming together, almost finished. So another woodworking project in the books. So, all right, if there's no other questions, I appreciate you guys. Have a good night.